Mabuhay! Welcome to Wisdom Keepers of the Earth, an online event that celebrates the 2022 Araw ng Kagitingan or Day of Valor, National Literature Month, and the International Earth Day. Wisdom Keepers of the Earth is composed of short documentaries and audiovisual presentations about a number of ritualists, oralists, healers, environmental keepers in Mindanao, Visayas, Luzon, as well as overseas. These wisdom keepers' expertise in oral literatures and environmental knowledge, as well as their heroic services to their communities through the centuries, are receiving their due recognition today. Wisdom Keepers of the Earth is a project of the Department of Foreign Affairs Public and Cultural Diplomacy Office in cooperation with the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples and the Tao Foundation for Culture and Arts. I am Dr. Grace Nono, your host and producer for Wisdom Keepers of the Earth. Let us begin with a question. What is this wisdom that we are talking about? The UNESCO calls it local and indigenous knowledges that refers to the understanding, skills, philosophies developed by societies with long histories of interaction with their natural surroundings. This knowledge is integral to a cultural complex that also encompasses language, systems of classification, resource use practices, social interactions, ritual, and spirituality. These unique ways of knowing are important facets of the world's cultural diversity and provide a foundation for locally appropriate, sustainable development. Local and indigenous knowledge have often been associated with holism, by generally not compartmentalizing the study of reality into separate domains. It is marked by the permeation of the material and the spiritual worlds, by oral transmission by elders, by qualitative observations, by the primacy of local contexts, and by the values of relationality and cooperation. As such, they have often been distinguished at the risk of binarization from much of Western knowledge, generally associated with reductionist analytical methods, materialist frameworks, quantitative measurements, academic and literate transmission, simplified and controlled experimental environments, and highly individualistic and competitive ways of learning. It is important for us to remember that local and indigenous knowledges have undergone centuries of marginalization, derision, demonization, erosion, and abandonment due to the histories of colonialism and neocolonialism that have sought to erase or replace these with Western educational and cultural systems. This unfortunate history has been coupled by the dispossession of indigenous peoples of much of their lands and resources by the colonizers, by big businesses, and by the dominant forces of society. Today, there is a call for justice founded on rights, coupled with a heightening process of rediscovery of these local and indigenous knowledges towards dialogue with Western knowledge for the survival of all. The UN Environment Program, for example, has declared these knowledges and their keepers are important contributors to the governance of biodiversity of both the local and global levels. Now let us ask another question. Where does this wisdom reside, if not found in books and in films? Although books and films may contain aspects of them that serve as gateways to further inquiry. These wisdoms and knowledges are mostly embodied by local and indigenous elders and transmitted orally and experientially to younger generations who are hoped to devote their unique talents towards the well-being, not only of immediate families, but of entire communities, as well as of plants, animals, lands, and waters on which humans depend upon for survival. Wisdom Keepers of the Earth introduces us to a number of Talaandig baylan in Bukidnon, as well as to some Blaan nongaru or persons with knowledge in Sarangani, in the segments produced by Davao-based director Magani Fiola, who is also Wisdom Keepers overall director. We will also be introduced to a number of Panay babaylan in Iloilo, in the segment produced by Iloilo-based directors Ramon Ramirez and Ana Razel Ramirez. We will further come to know a number of Tagalog Manunubli in Batangas, in the segment produced by Metro Manila-based directors Darwin Belmoro and Sonny Boy Castillo. Finally, we will come to know a number of Ifugao mumbaki in Banawe, in the segment produced by Baguio-based director Jocelyn Banasan Capuno. We are grateful to the national and regional offices of the National Commission on Indigenous Peoples for facilitating the free, prior, and informed consent process in Indigenous communities where filming took place. Towards the end of the presentation, we will also be introduced to wisdom keepers in different parts of the world, with thanks to the Philippine embassies and consulates that facilitated some of the interviews. Wisdom keepers of the earth. If we talk about heroism, many male and female babaylans have been reported by historical, anthropological, and gender literatures to have prophesied or fought with their lives against the colonizers and colonial policies of reducción, conversion, and forced labor, asserting in the process their rights to their ancestral lands and ways. Among these were Cariapa in Bohol in 1563, Dupungay in Cebu, Negros, and Panay in 1599, Fulangan and Kabakungan in Cagayan in 1595, Cacuenga in Cagayan in 1607, Tamblot in Bohol in 1621 to 22, Suburoy in northern Samar in 1649 to 50, Pagali in Leyte in 1621 to 22, Tapar in Iloilo in 1663, Papaisio in Negros in 1896 to 1907, Estrella Bangot Banwa in Iloilo in the late 19th century. I am certain that there are so many more ritualists whose sacrifices have yet to be recorded by our history books. The heroism that we are emphasizing today, however, is of a different kind. More recent scholarship no longer just focuses on the masculinist model of resistance, when subordinated groups rise up in violent resistance against dominant powers. Equally salient in studies of resistance today are the relatively peaceful, everyday contestations of power staged by subjugated sectors in society. When Bailisa Samay, for example, recounts how her baylan ancestors, at the urging of their spirit helpers, fled to Mount Kitanglad to avoid colonial conversion and subjugation, an act that allowed them to preserve their native ways for centuries so that today Filipinos can still have that legacy to cherish, that is heroism. When the baylan, through constant communication with spirit helpers, maintain the practice of sung and spoken oral literatures in archaic languages against the hegemony of Western language and music, that too is heroism. When the mananabang or native midwives, threatened with imprisonment, assert their rights to their cultural practices provided for by the UN Declaration on the Rights of Indigenous Peoples and the Philippine Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act, that too is heroism. And when the baylan, despite the unfortunate reality of their followers being wrested away from the ancestral fold by big businesses, religions, and armed groups, continue their prayers and services for all without exception and without counting the hours, that too is heroism. A peaceful heroism that remains unsung and that have taken so long to be acknowledged and appreciated. Today, as we celebrate Araw ng Kagitingan or Day of Valor, we offer our gratitude to our baylans and other wisdom keepers in the Philippines and around the world.
Masyada daw yung anak ng kumunat dulu. Pero dari kemudian pusoy. Pero kata siya, naano to yung potensyal as medium. Kaya na nag-istorya niya.
Yandaan baka tagputo di panaw.
Tawag na sila og kanang walo ka kasabay. Konsiyo sa walo ka mga kapitulangan. Ako nisitutan ang pamalaan sa tribo. Sila ang tinugdan, sila ang matang panalangin ka daw makarikog ang dataya.
Hindi mayada mahapon sa tanan. Ay ba? Panalangin ta sa pandan yan sa mga baylan. Sa iha.
Kino sa katuyuan ta ini ha.
Sa katuyuan dan yan sa pag
What who will we how
pang mga
Ayan, tabis.
baylan. Bisa igawas niya si ikaw ba eh?
Iyo kung may masa. Yung tao sa yung pabantay o yan. Siyo malasin managsak siya nga lang siyo magwa siya. Baya Talaandig. Kinahanglan. Yung malas Talaandig ay sumalabsikan sila dahil mabukadwa ba. Kaya kau magnatatao. Doon, manawat suwara magdalangin. Lumayang kaiman. Siya kadagpo sa pituwagin ariya. Ikabiada yung kumakaumaka ay panumbay pangapo ka. Minante batasan, parang ikaw. Amin na lapatan, na lakaran na batasan. Samso patay luwa. Siya patinggan na kay kulay.
Hari kayo magpapagatan.
Pagbaya ka ng mga bubuan, pagbaya ka dito ala ng mga butang sa kalibutan yan, hibo ka dito mga pilawan ka dito. Iwis ko din tainan ha. Dong raw ka daw. Alan sa mga problema ko kagita. Alan sa mga problema ko na malanggawan. Alan sa mabugat kag ginawa ko na malanggawan. Alan kagita sa tagadagada nga mga hunahuna kag ikagikagita malanggawan. Alan sa pagbalabag ko kag timaday malanggawan kagita sa mga problema dayo partiyo. Mga material malanggawan alan kagita. Doon ko tayo imo siya i-west para mabuligan na kagita wagas tagbaya alan sa mga problema ko kagita malanggawan kagita.
Kanang mga baylan, mahibuon naman siya nga baylan kay pag kadlawon ba early daw mga 4 o'clock nagsugod na siya chanting nga na namog sala. Ga prayer si ana sa pagsaka sa adlaw ng iba na dito iyang mga pag-ampo sa tibok adlaw na successful ang tanan niya nga mga trabaho.
Importante gyud ang ritual sa kinabuhi sa baylan. Naa may mga abya niya nga mo'y gatabang sa iya na og di na to na sang piton pud og ritual na dili na sad to siya kaayo mo tabang pero og magritual ang kuan baylan tungod sa iyang mga abyan ka pirmi gyud na sige tabangan.
Wala makaruma.
Ha,
Kadin
hari kayo mahiligan.
pag alima
Kung mahimo adalan o kauhangan ta.
asan day.
Kagita amin din di kagita daghan tigbabawan. Na yan daw nalingan ang
langit
kagita
sa
sa
mga panalangin day.
pinakayon kayo bagnos sa sa limbang. Mabuhat ay dalang kagita.
Ang tinuro ko ba dili galisod pag open up or pagdawat sa komunikasyon sa other side. Matter, spirit. Kaya maka-crossover man siya sa boundary sa matter and spirit. Muna nga kadaghan ng gabay lang kapuyo sila sang walay disturbance sa kinaihan. Spirito man ang ga atiman ana. So maka-communicate siya dito. Sa itong mga baylan dito sa kasang sa una, makapangayo bugas. Makapangayo og bino, pangayo tubig, makapangayo ulan, makapangayo init. Pwede sila nga katuig lang ipuyan, di makita.
Ang gitawag nga baylan, naana di ang koneksyon na pirmi sila sa kanang mga alambiton dinhi sa yuta. Kanang mga alambiton bitaw, kanang mga gabantay sa tubig, gabantay sa kahoy, gabantay sa adlaw, gabantay sa bituon.
Sa kultura mo na siya ang scientist na mo na siya. Scientist na mo na. The best na mo na siya ang baylan. Naapod-apod lang ni kuan trabaho nga mo nay among matrabaho. Munay among gidala nga makatabang sa mga katawan pero mangutana pag gid mi dito sa among baylan kung unsay angay para atong among pasyente. Kay siya tanan ang nakabalo siya.
Dali ay sa apo ko. Angat ka na itadarwa ka. Tag-interview
Ang among lulusad, mga baylan sad sila nga sa time pag-abot sa mga katsila, sila ang wala na kuan, sila ang wala na convert. Among mga lulo ko ato nga time gi-instructionan sa mga spirit nga ugma buntag mo bakit mo nilayas mo sila sa Mount Kitanglad. So nahimo nila nga shelter ang Mount Kitanglad. Diya sila nagpadayon sa ilang mga rituals sa Mount Kitanglad. Dili sila magukod kay doon na may mga instructions sa spirit. Sumutong nakasurvive lugar among mga lolo, pinaagi sa ilang pagkabaylan. mananabang naman ko. Gikuan din sa diwis nga ang mananabang prisuhon tanan. Wala na'y manabang mo yung sa mga kamatayon. Kami ang taga tribal community. Naglaban gyud mi nga isip mi nga isa ka mananabang, isip mi nga dinhi sa amo. Kami ang gitugahan sa pagtabang sa mga masakiton or sa kapanganak. Iampo nimo ang tanan mga katawan. So kung ang usa ka baylan wala na nagkuan lugar sa irang kaugalingon. Ang iyang tanan nga expression ng tanan niya nga kalihukan para sa tanan. Para gid sa tanan, iserbisyo sa tanan. Serbisyo sa tanan. Pero lang usay ang baylan mo react sad ang baylan kung ma-under na ba, mailog na sa iyang mga tao. Masakop na ba? Masakop na. Pag mata sa baylan, sige sa chanting, ang iyang masakop to sa sagingan, to sa pinyahan, to sa simbahan, to sa kampo sa sundalo, kampo sa mga rebelde. Nabilin ang baylan, isa na lang. So, dapat ang iyang prayer kauban ang iyang mga tao.
Hatap na ya kagkatin po din na kagkatinugdan din amaan sampulo ag-awong ko sa intong balay ang mga musuyo puon humayawad nabaliwat lumanon da bayluhaban taya intugbo. Kami ang mga baylan lakaw bisag ahami paingon o dili mi mutabang sa katawhan dako na mo ang trubo kon sa Ginoo. Masayop mi sa mga espiritu sa among apuhan mo nang tabang lang gid. Walay kwenta nga unsa adlaw ug magabi mo lakaw mi tabang ni katawhan. Pamalig-buligan sila, panapnahin sila, huda dan bulog, gagaywa ho biyahe dan, makatu, dan alan makatu dahil daan sa kabilin. Matuod kayo apo tanatuan.
That was the Talaandig Baylan segment that featured Dato Migkita Victorino Saway and other wisdom keepers in Mount Kitanglad, Bukidnon. For decades now, the crucial role of Indigenous peoples in sustainable development and in protecting Mother Earth has been recognized. The 1987 UN Brundtland Report recommended, and I quote, Indigenous peoples should be given a decisive voice in resource management decisions that affect them. The report acknowledged that these communities are repositories of vast accumulations of traditional knowledge and experience that have been used in the past to sustainably manage very complex ecological systems. The Blaan wisdom keepers, who we just witnessed, express their desire to protect and maintain the integrity of their ancestral domain. In one of our conversations in the past, Some of them recounted how during the 1990s, a transnational mining corporation approached their then chief Dato Maguling with an offer of $20,000 and sex workers to accept a new gold mine on his tribal land. Dato Maguling rejected the offer. A month later, ground troops and planes machine gunned and bombed his community, killing and displacing numerous people. Dato Maguling, who was also a famous healer, passed on only this February. Besides overt approaches to protecting ancestral domains, what other environmental insights can we glean from the Blaan women wisdom keepers who we just witnessed? According to Elia, one of their spokespersons, each nungaru, or person with sacred knowledge revealed through dreams, has a specific mission that is given by Kinaiyahan, or Mother Earth herself. Dakel's mission is to perform rituals for healing whenever people are sick, and rituals for thanksgiving whenever people receive blessings. Legla's mission is to sing about the sacred law. The shared mission of Mata and her daughter Lalinia is to plant root crops, bananas, vegetables, because planting on the earth is itself a sacred task, one that gives life and through which humans feel the love of Mother Earth, who provides food, water, songs, medicines, shelter, and energy to her children, who must protect her in return. Today, as we celebrate International Earth Day, we offer our gratitude to our Nungaru and other wisdom keepers in the Philippines and around the world.
Kasati pun dikruton usal ngadenawa if you na toko ye ni mo banu toko ma muno tanah dan mengam kubung of you labale de ye nanggulan wa wa manang pila gumila di puyu karnawan ye nami banlere buka sayo dila akne o nanggulan wa nang amagu sino ye cầm đồ i sa lugu.
Ang nongaru, isa-isa sa ilaha, naa sila yung mga misyon na gihatag sa mga kinaiyahan sa ilaha.
Murang mabulul murang mabi dool din pa amin tigami dinik nito ng kami tabi kita tiuk surang mikutan na abi ko diye tulun akdo bai lagi dulan dayan sa nistipun gami menang baluk dus nudong ye punat lon menang gilu migon nita bagus kemlon
di tagdaan di kliton laro di ketdo larundo di lomimok naan kunun temduk kug Friday di kutlo agu muburun dakil makundun datalal yung
Ang iyang misyon, nagaritual siya kung naay magsakit o kung naay mga magpasalamat o thanksgiving. Ritualist bidyang iyang kuan, papel.
Ano pagtuko kayo kunong ginuman tayo di banu bumitan nga gagin di klunen bumitan menen ala anal mitan kulibun mantay kubo kaya pus dusag tud ginutu sesmudang gumnis mudang bulul gun mabi rata saroy Uni wata na magragit all di
Lagum ni ditana. Tu kakeng kumenam kuram tulus kumenam kuram mo osra mo osra. Yem tulus tana. Yem tulus bulan mataru. Yagum nigo. Kumenak nawa gurari mo guto. Lagum ni di kutana amni gamirin na. Ketimenda ko timendal mo osra hindi. Ram tulus. Tula tuun gura kakut ladal mo natut alumunam kut.
Singa sa akong kabahin, dili ko almoos. Kay lisod ka yung almoos kung kana atong sampiton. Dili siya pwede makasampitana kay bawal sa iyang abyan. Ang iyang abyan kan mao na ang abogado na sa adlaw. Ang iya halang diri lang siya sa kalibutan nga nagatanom, mao na yang misyon kay diha nita nibuhi sa yuta. Labi ni sa atong yutang kabilin, ada di tamudako on sa diha kung wala tay di tambuhi sa mga tanom. Mo na ang pinaka number 1 sa iya magtanom gyud na siya. Kay diha ta na makapundar ug diha ta makapangayo og tabang makahatag ang kinaiyahan sa ato nga palangga ta sa kinaiyahan kung number 1 sa atong ginadala nga magtanom ta sa yuta kay diha ta nibuhi.
Dukal di damu agut magakalalido but nganin gobil no but nganin bungado.
Ang iyang misyon kay sila man ang lubasan ni Bo Magkayo sa una. Naa sila'y mga ipadala nila nga balaod, nga uldin na sa mga balaod. Tapos naa sila'y gibili nila mga message ni Bo Magkayo sa una. Samtang naapa siya diri, ginatagaan niya mga kanang iyang mga sinaligan. Isa-isa sa ila na siya ipadala sa ila. Ang iyang trabaho, siya ang tiga hatag og balaod sa iyang mga kauban.
Amda ilo. Yiran lan magit toligado yelo gulok nulung mimo kakaan na mimo full natambil. Mimo saol dadto na malbung. Yelo gulok gimo.
Unta magapadayon ni nga tong trabaho para naapod sila'y kaugmaon nga katong mga gibinlan ni Bo Magkayo sa una nga naay kapuslanan ang iyang pagbilin og sulat og kanang mga lengguwahe ni Bo Magkayo sa una og manghinaot ta nga kaning gud mabi nga matabangan ni kay mao ni ang atong tungkaran og diri ang atong root sa atong pagpangayo og tabang.
Do matami wadi no di good mabi. Yelo ko do garu. Baga kumni di fulugu. Du ye fulugu. Pali na kasila. Bagam pa nok do kasila do nok ko. Dula tigulam nok ngad guni ko si da di fulu. Fulu ni mo imi mo langit ni mo tanak bong ani. Ye mi mo tanak bong. Doti gutel men tanak bong gumni mi langit na do bratik mi wadi ye muyu di fulu mi. Ye gami gumni. Landuk tuan mi takuti mi lo os landuk. Ye lo os mi gami fulu mi. Fulu im gami na lo ni flah mi di tanak bong. Ye gami gu lam gatong. Dumen gu. Satim sabong. Kuisim ni gerim tan busmi bi gami ni sibin gami lakti. Iron minun pali. Iron nunagul mi iron kasila mi. Du fulu mi di tanak bong ani. Ni mo dua ta kami nagakan kami di gumul mi bol gumul mi kasila gumul mi saging ye nok mi lakti ye kami gumni tanak bong ani gut magak dua ta itu
Yega milof ni yega godon ni mo di good ma bibi ko.
Ang tanan nga nagtapok dili kay ano sila tanan. Kun dili nun gare lang sila. Mga dreamer lang. Kung unsa ang ilahang damgo sa matulog sila o magtan-aw sila nga naa diha ilahang abyan bisag adlaw o magabii, mauna ang ilahang mahibaw-an ug maupod lang na ang ilahang masulti. Ang last nga mag-almoos dire sa tribong Blaan is sigilon. Kay ang almoos gikan sa una ang mga rapturist. Naga-rapture sila. Mauna ang almoos. So last nga pag-rapture ni Gilon, murag sukad ato ang nagpabilin na lang katong mga nongaru. Katong mga naay kahibalo, mga dreamer. Kung mag-almoos na daw ka, dili na daw ka pwede mo gamit og mga pagkaon. Kay pwede ka kalit mo wala o pwede pod ka kalit nga naa. Mao ang pinaka-direct nga term sa almoos is rapturist. Mag-rapture sila tanan kung mag-almoos. Mao nga wala na kaayo gidala ang almoos nga term.
Na ikrumi bagami mitu na kuno nafni mire eri good wata bagam no bag. Na do naman tani ko unto bagi duwata galgu kafni ridwata. Nakaf ng amdai
gikan sa pagkadalaga niya, faithful siya sa Ginoo. Kay bisag unsang klaseng mga simbahan iyahang sudlan. Ang chanting musunod lang siya pero dili siya mo chant. Kay tungod dili siya kabalo ug maulaw siya kay dili daw kuno to tugyan para sa iyaha. Apan mahitungod sa iyahang mga prayers, sige siya ampo musulod bisag asang simbahan. Wala siya gisupak na ay tubag sa iyahang prayers. Gitagaan na siya sa espiritu o sarili niyang kinaadman. Espiritu gikan sa Blaan, mahitungod kay siya Blaan. Blaan iyahang unod, Blaan iyahang dugo, Blaan iyahang panit. Mao nga gitagaan siya og espiritu nga naga-chant na siya karon. Naay daghang dayuhan, naapoy daghang makadamgo. Ang tribo na ay daghang matulog, ang makapamatapod ang edukasyon. Naay uban nga makaeskwela, gipaning kamutan nga mubalik sila kung asa sila gikan. Sa mga niaging mga panahon, ang atmurok lang siguro, pipila lang siguro kabata ang mugawas sa hospital, kundili sa balayra at murokla. Kay mahitungod sa espiritu ug mahitungod sa kinaiyahan, makayara sa tanan nga mga nongaru. Mao nga gi-preserve namo ang amo ang kinaiyahan. Nga dili mi musugot nga maguba ang amo ang kinaiyahan. Maguba amo ang kabukiran. Kay asa man amo ang butika, asa man amo ang mga palengke, naara dira tanan. Gipaningkamutan gyud namo na manghangyo mi nga matabangan mi. Nga mo barog mi pinaagi sa pag-uyog natin tanan. Meet all.
Ay, mandali na isa nyo.
That was the Blaan Nongaru segment featuring Dakel Macondon and other wisdom keepers in Mount Agmuruk, Sarangani. Babaylan Montesco described persons like himself as having a deep knowledge of nature, especially areas called mariit, meaning dangerous, believed to be inhabited by spirits. The anthropologist Alicia Magos discussed the concept of mariit as having bred among the people a deep respect for the unknown, helping people develop practices conducive to environmental preservation and protection. Bagos adds that folklore has not been given the attention it deserves as a rich source of options and cues for carrying out changes in people's lifeways and habits. This, according to her, is because of the tendency of modern environmental planners and crusaders to distrust indigenous ecological belief systems that they consider backward. She further adds that the government's own fisheries and forest management program has been too narrowly focused, its prescriptions only relieving symptoms rather than dealing with causes. Folklore, she says, can help bridge the gap by knowing how people perceive their ecosystem. Folk concepts and practices can be mobilized in support of the meaningful implementation of environmental laws.
Hinay rin kamu sa dalan, nagapanglakat rin nagapanakayan. Kudiin kabranggayan, kabanuahanan, siyudad, Iloilo ang ginalagaw-lagawan. Kasi ang ginadangkan, natod sa kadagatan, kunyara ginasundan sa ibang nasyon, ginakadtuan. Dawaton namon ang kaanakan, dawaton namon ang mga ginikanan. Sa mga
Ako si Kuano nito Montisco, Gabarangay Dagami, Maasin, Iloilo. Kuan gede binabaylan gede surhano, padagtawag di gyakran. Halin gid sa mga apoy naman, astas mga lulo, asta rin sa mga tatay. Ti ano mo ginasukot ka kalimbawa para nublihan ninyo nga may mga saragodon. Ti kuno wa iti manoble kang kwan kang saragodon naman ka ginikanan mo imarasukton ikaw. Ginagapanukot nga batawan ikaw blatian. Ti kuno magkwan kanira palu pakwan murman sa ibang surhano tunagen mga kwan mga saragodon tatay mo imorang panublihan mo di lugar magkwanto nagpabilid ako to sa limod diyan bantog mang surhano to ti kunang saragodon tatay mo panublihan mo de more mga kunan nga bruhisan nga diwata nga kayog mga mahikaw medyan nga mga kwan imora si bruhisan nga kuang ra si diwata nga kunda si miring ra imora diwata dia kag mga kwan mga tipsukan kag mga tlayhang aja mga tlagahan ke mga snabsaban ina dapat manukot ganik mga saragodon kundang bruhisan diwata nga ti baboy kra obrahan da agsunod kun mga dragaan nga sa mga umade ado ginasukot kabla ka mga inkantohanen ka mga tlunanen sa uma ti obrahan mo man nakbaboy kag si tatay kung to nagsurhano way man matupad di ka ibang baylan nabaliaken ginsukot ako ka saragodon tatay nabali nga kung ginpatawag kung surhano kung to nga kung ko itupadan mo ako to kuna hindi ay kuna mas gin ikaw la kra makapanoob kak mangyan kra nambitan mo tanan mo nga kwan kran do ginasugo likaw kra nga imaw nambitan mo. Noob kak mangyan daw ginadiktakan ikaw nga imaw mitlang mo diyan sa halad mo mga puso berebed na imaw marahingadnan mo diyan.
Ang ginahambal ko sa mga ritual ang pag-alagad para sa mga espirituhanan nga atin ginatuuhan. Initanan ginbugna kanaken ginbugna sang Ginoo paagi sa tarhita libro nga ginhatag sa akon. Ang libro nga nahatag sa akon paagi sa tubig nga nagabaha. Pagbaha sa haro, halin sa simbahan, paagto sa palasyo, taga hawak ang tubig, nagalakbay-lakbay ang libro. pero tuya sa libro nga to, may nabuol akong mga Latin. Kay ang Latin, ginatransfer sa kinauna nga mga paghambal. Mga tinaga na sa kinauna. Sa akin lang sa akin lang kaisipan nga nagaabot. Kunwari ako ubra, way man. Iba, sari-sari man ang ginamit lang ko kung ano ang ginaubra. Kinaraya. Oras ako mag-start, may Latin. Anghel ko gid, ang espiritu gid amo nagadara kanaken, hindi lang basta-basta nga matun-an mo diak. Ang epekto nas pagpamulong, pagpabadbad, paglubad kang mga espirituhanon, kag paglubad kang mga balatian nga kung sa diin gintukod, kung sa diin na natandag, kag kung sa diin na ginhalinan. Oo, tub-tub sa kamatayon, ihatag mo sa akon kung para sa kaayuhan ko. Pero kung sa kalainan, hindi ako magbaton. Tiga, ang hamuot mo kagugma, sa isig mo katawo, nga mapabuhi mo, makabulig ikaw, makasuportar ikaw, makatabang ikaw.
Kung nga runungon kundang sarad angin nga iputsan mo ra kang kuan saging nga 3 bilog, kag mga koron basang una mga buong na putson mo lapat. Mas gini isalak gipik, putson mo lapat kag sabit sa mga kahuyan, talon. Kita mo mga bubog doon sa amin, way namin ginapukan, mga bugo, nga dyan mga restaurant, ginata nakakuan, ka mga brulakaw. Do kuan mga diwata maran nga brulakaw. Ay man ako ga panukot takeday nga abi kuno makalimbawa mangluya ako, way ako gasagap nga biya nakibag na batahan na sanggatos. Ti kun may kwarta, miyad kun may kwarta na tao pero ko ay way tanat sanggatos ini tanak paluya nimo. Ake masibensing ko timos lang basta may halad lak naken nga may kwanta ka kahipan ko kluya.
Si Mapuel Magdalena si Daba-daba, si Malabhab. Ang baylan lain sa Surano. Kaya ang baylan nga kada pito-pito ka tuig gaihaw kag baboy magpungko diwan baga magtaas ang level mo.
Sa akin hindi ganit akin na kuharos, hindi ako magbaylan mo, agyan blatian ko nga to. Hindi ako magbaton, pero rihe law kapirago ako mabulaan ti ginhawa imo to ginpati ko gamit nin tatay dito sa balay na si area nga to ginkaraan ko sawa ko nakapira karahan balang Surano nga bulaan mo gamit tatay mong tukog nublihin lugar uri ito bulaan ko ginawa dayo ko subaan to nga gamit tatay hedarin sa pantyon na bagtingan ti kapito basalan kaagong ti kapito kag iwasagan ka banay na matipito nga ku imam na ratay sa godon mo nga ako da sagi ako gid ginakuanan mo nga manubli pa ay dala ko he panublihan ko. Una gi kadya nga nag-ubrak na mga apoy naman si Malam Agoy. Sunod sing Malam Nam Iko. Kag sunod si Papanuryo. Tapos magagto kay tatay mas nukot na napatay lolo na mas tatay man nanoble. Lugar urihe. Kundi napatay tatay. Ako raman imaw gini para kuan na gini sukot. Kung namutan na daw bilang tanagid tarahaon doon ka to nga tao. Ang nakapanoble ka na ka to, bata ni Ulang Uto, si Juan, si Pedro Valentin. Bulig tadya sa isig katao, tamo. Bakan tika hindi ta sandigan ja pagkabaylan takap nga buhi ta.
Tentasyon diso si ilan sang sa krus at wera ego som pikaturom amyam tuwam.
Anak iba dagapati mas tawag doktor pati ang iba hindi man magkuanay kuna kun doktor lang imaw man pa doktor naman. Wan pagayad ti po idi nga pabilid kami nimo paluya kami. Ti kung ko ti luyahan tayo kuno doktoran na ti ayat doktor ay kung hindi ganiti baraylanan da Ulang Uto kag ti Pedro nga makabulig kananda ko pa ano nga kuananda ang bukid makasuba abot sa nagis bukid tapos kuno kuan mas tato sa nakakapis ka to nakaabot sa dato mo palagaw to nga pangabayo la sanday pantuto. Ay matuod di matong ni anting-anting sa kwang to sa ulang uto kuno bantayan no tanas dalang to kisa mga dido silan kaptan no sang isa hindi pa malupok po sil mo may nahuptan di man tanato nga kwan madaw begna matus malam nga hindi tanam madutlan. Ko nga iglesia pag mga astarin nga ko nga brumoke pero dag kwanjik na kanya surrender gamit ko brumoke kag ang kwan ang Diyos gugma nga ko masulod ko sa reliyon da surrender ko mga gamit ko tanan mga yahong agong bangkaw kag banay kag kundiman kung pula pero hindi ko pag surrender ga hambal ta ngati nan mo imo ja aki inaydan ti hindi ako makasunod ti inyo reliyon en nged nga tumanin kut nakin jay mo aki inaydan no ti karon nya ko madara ko ngamuyo nga saragodon ko pero ko hindi tingni sinukot narmataken.
Salvati Jesus, salvati intre Maria, e pera tentacion de Jesus, elansang sa cross, elansang sa cross, et vera, egosum, peccatorum, amiam, tuam, Teresita, ginikanan, kaduguan, pamilyas, anghel, dimiguardia, Cristo in cross, cross benedictus, cross and pactus, miser nobis natum. Diyos nga amay, Diyos nga anak, Diyos nga Espiritu Santo, o amay ginapangayo ko kaginato. Agdahon tagid ang mga ginikanan, agdahon ta ang mga kaulangan. Surundon nga ginasundan, saragodon kag mga haraywon sa mga kaulangan, ginasundan. Yara pagapatpatan sa itlog, pagaluwasan sa itlog, pagabaydan. Baydan tilak sambulawan, sinobong bulawan, husisaon, balatian ko diin.
Ada pito ka lain nga ritual man pasaka. Ang una nga mabatyagan mo daw na ang espiritu mo daw kalutaw ka sa hangin. Nga way kati kuan gid natadlang nga desisyon. Baylan kita nang kuan to pinakataas nga rangko ka baylan. Kay nagkarabok to tulana mo. Nagburukol nga daw kuan la. Ti sobraydan na rin. Ang manugilotan na lain man kay white mo karaga panguyang. Ang surano gapanguyang ka pero simple lang. Ang baylan ta na manguyang ka hindi manok baboy gid. Ang butbot ta na akan ta na butbot itlog mo bilog. Cross ko lara sa mga pulso kag paligid lara sa sakit kag hampol dan 3 oras.
Ayan ko diin kabranggayan, kabanuahanan, siyudad Iloilo ang ginalagaw-lagawan, kasi ang ginadangkan. Ang ginikanan ko si Jose nga suay, amo gidran ang babaylan nga ginsundan ko. Ang nanay ko si Luisa nga hagunyo, nagapanghilot na. Ang tatay ko amo babaylan. Nakaedad ako sa 18 anyos, ginpadaho ako ni tatay sa pagkababaylan. 7 ka tuig ang serbisyo ko sa pagkababaylan, ginbayaan ko. Kay hindi ako gusto nga masilutan ang tawag ng espiritu nga talunanon. Gusto ko maamligan gid ang tanan nga sa lupa, kag sa ibabaw, buhi, kag ang minatuod ng mga tao. Amoran ang ginabuligan ko. Di ko nga pamulong, nakadangat desanda sa ibang nasyon, mga DFA nakadangat resanda ko diin nga mga nasyon nga ginaubrahanan da, si hasta tilad nakaedad din ako 32 anyos Abril nga dya. Katapos din ako sa pagpamulong ko sa 49 anyos. Ti amo dya ang nadangatan ko tilad.
But if you have a babaylan or a maarang, so you see the word itself, maarang meaning somebody who is knowledgeable. If you have a maarang in the village, no, there's no problem because the maarang actually could be your uncle, it could be your grandfather, no. Of course, there are women babaylan, but there are very, very few. I know only of two or three women babaylan. The word itself, siruano, is a Spanish word for doctor or a medicine man, no? So a siruano is always hot. When you believe in a babaylan, that does not mean that you're doing away with God. No, in fact, the Bangat Banwa people who are really religious people. I mean, spiritual, no? They are, they had formed themselves into an association, no, where they can continue the causa, as we would call it, the cause of the Babaylan founder, Catalino Cervantes. Because if you are in the US or you're in some other parts of the country, nobody is going to tutor you on that, and nobody will tell you, oh, you know, you dream. The person that is calling you in that dream is actually your grandfather. He will tell you that, no. He's telling you to follow the Babaylan tradition, no. You see, things like that don't happen when you're in the city, when you're in the US, when you're in say England, or when you're in the Middle East. They are Dalagangan and they are Busalian. No? They are pre-colonial or pre-Hispanic leaders in the community. If you have a Dalumdungan ancestry, no? You cannot do away with the Babaylan, the Siruano, when you're sick or you're getting signs of, you know, we have a serious stomach ache, no? You have to get a Babaylan, no? They are the medical doctors. No? So when a place is mariit, no, you're not supposed to go there, cut the trees and all that, because there are spirit beings, environmental beings assigned to that place, no? So if you want to get sick, okay, you go there. If you don't want to get sick, then stay away from that place. In a certain village, no? Di ba may mga forested areas, may so-called places which are already known to be mariit places, no? When a place is mariit, no, that means it is spirit habited, no? There's another word also, almost similar to that, pali, it's spirit habited, no? So when the place is spirit habited, and there are trees there, no, and we are supposed to preserve trees, then you don't go there. So it's actually, it is a big help to sustainable development.
I personally grew up in traditional indigenous healing. Like growing up, I never went to the doctor. So in a way, like if I get sick, I go to the Manungkilot, Tamon, some barangay. I remember she would always like use guava leaves and ginger, other oils. I feel like religion and spirituality should go together and not separate.
The Babaylans exist until now because people seek their services to remedy whatever disturbs them. And they also provide, the Babaylans also provide explanation to questions, solutions also to mysterious things that they don't understand. Something medical and material world could not provide answers. When people are no longer familiar with their traditions, and families, family traditions, and they're called to Babaylan ways, somebody, an elderly Babaylan can recognize the surge of the spirit on the person. Before I was ordained, I came to know that I belong to a family of Babaylans. My father's side, my mother's side, both of the parents, they were healers. As a response, or as an urge that's coming from him, which we could not control,
Magaynay-hinay rin kamo sa dalan gapang lakatun nagapanakayan. Kodiin nga kabranggayan kabanuahanan syudad Iloilo Pasi ang ginalagaw-lagawan. Yara din ang mga ginikanan hindi mag-intrawite labot kadya nga butang sa mga ginikanan ginasundan. Instrumento ang nalamatat.
That was the Panay Babaylan segment featuring Dolores Suay and other wisdom keepers in the hinterlands of Panay. All of the segments that we have watched so far showed performances of centuries-old yet equally contemporary sung or spoken traditions in different Philippine languages. These are referred to as oral literatures or literatures of voice that many babaylan, baylan, nongaru, manunubli, and other wisdom keepers are known to be experts of. These oral expressions are extremely valuable markers of identities and contains historical, cultural, and environmental knowledge, perhaps more so than their modern literate counterparts. Oral literature has been described as, quote, a broad term which may include ritual texts, curative chants, epic poems, folk tales, creation stories, songs, myths, spells, legends, proverbs, riddles, word games, oral histories, whose composition and performance exhibit to an appreciable degree the artistic character of accurate observation, vivid imagination, and ingenious expression, end quote. The folklorist Damiana Eugenio, citing Wells, wrote of folk songs in general as having, quote, no original text, being freshly created by each successive singer as he or she makes his or her own version. Oral literatures may periodically rise to the surface and may have been caught and fixed in print, but they differ greatly from their printed form, end quote. That is because the nature of oral traditions greatly differ from literary conventions. Participation is another important mark of oral performances, with the bar's audiences, not to mention the spirits in the case of ritualists and healers, acknowledged as sources and or as participants in the story being sung or told. The anthropologist Nicole Revel observes how much of oral literature later gives way to a mixed oral and written tradition. This is the case of the Subli oral songs and prayers that trace themselves to the origins of the Mahal na Poon. Centuries later, the Subli songs and prayers inscribed both on paper and on the voices and bodies of the Manunubli through centuries of unbroken ritual performance.
Ang makasaysayang sayaw na subli ay nag-umpisa noong mabalitang mayroong isang puno ng kahoy na naghimalang bukalan ng tubig. At ang marami ay naghangad na makuha ang kahoy na yan. Subalit walang makakuha. May nabalitaan man itong mga taga-Bawan na parang may nakikita silang parang manika na sumasayaw sa may puno at may narinig silang mga tinig na parang umaawit. Ang ginawa ng mga taga-Bawan, sinayawan ngayon yan at umawit ng kambulong. Pagkaawit lang yun, ang kahoy ay biglang lang bumigay. Ang kahoy na yan ay ginawang krus na ngayon kung tawagin namin ay Mahal na Poon Santa Cruz.
You know, if you listen to the stories of the Manunubli of Bawan, you might think these are legends, they are myths, they have no basis in history. But that is not true in the case of the Subli. If you go through the Spanish archives and many Spanish books from the early portion of our colonization, you will find that there are quite a number of them that really attest to the reality of the story of the Subli. Perhaps the earliest of these accounts is by Gaspar de San Agustin, who wrote around the period of his experiences around the period of 1565 to 1615. He recounts that in 1595 or thereabouts, a group of elders from the old town of Bawan, which was located around the western portion of the Taal volcano at that time, discovered a large tree called the Anubing. And it was miraculous.
Kaya ako naging kuha ng mga subli. Dahil nga yung mga magulang no, isang mga manubli dito nung una. Pag nagsusublihan diyan, dahil kasama ko na nanonood ako. Kaya ako natuto na.
Ako bata pa, mahilig akong manood ng sayaw na subli. Hanggang sa ako natuto na rin nga sapagkat gusto ko rin namang ako matuto ng pagsusubli. Ngayon, nung sila'y wala na, nakasama na rin ako.
Natatandaan ko ng mga 13 taon akong gulang, ay tuwing bagong taon yung hating gabi, yung tiyo namin na manunubli din, ay nagtutugtog yung tugtugan diyan. Kami ay nagsasayaw.
Ang lolo ko ay mahuseri manunubli. Tuwing pista ng December 8, na may sublian kasi, ay lagi ako nanonood. Sabi na yung lolo na, sige, ikaw pala marunong manubli, sige, tuturuan kita ng paghawak ng kastanet.
The 1790 account, he already talks about the fact the town of Bawan won the cross because they danced and sang for 9 consecutive nights. And so this is the description of the Subli as a dance and song and prayer form. In 1930, we have the poem, the long poem of Juan Coronel, telling the story of Ang Krus sa Alitagtag. This long poem tells us the entire story, and it is still available. It's in Filipino for readers today. So you will see that Subli and the Mahal na Poong Santa Cruz have a long history, as long as the period of Spanish colonization of the Philippines.
Sa limit ng aking pagsama sa kanila, dahil nanatili na akong nakakasama nila, natutuhan ko na yung mga tono at saka yung mga lyrics hanggang humingi na rin ako ng kopya para matutunan kong mabuti. At kailangan talaga yung bawat sayaw ay lalagyan mo ng tono.
The styles of dance of the men and the women are quite different. And men and women dance against each other in groups of 4 many times. 2 women, 2 men, sometimes 7 women, 7 men, 8 women, 8 men, etc. No, in different formations. To understand the text, and many times the singers don't even fully understand the text, we had to go in research into these ancient dictionaries. 17th century, 18th, and 19th century dictionaries, because the references were so obscure and the usage was no longer there. The first reference to subli in a dictionary is 1611. And so you'll notice that 17th century, that's early conquest.
Sa aking paniniwala ay napakalaki ng natutulong sa aking buhay. Isa pa sa aking kalusugan, sa edad ko 70 ito, marami na ang sigurong hindi na kaya yung mga trabaho ng iba. Pero ako nakagagawa pa.
2 beses nang na-opera sa tiyan. Nakuha na ng tubig ang baga. Nadalas na ng bell palsy. Tinamaan uli na kuha, na-maldistrok ako. No, hindi ako makatugtog, hindi ako makawan. Kami laging nagkukuha ng subli, hindi ako yung nakaawa ng Diyos, nakarecover. Kaya sabi ko, habang ako'y ang kaya ko, at may subli, pati ako sasama pagka, dahil yun ang aking hilig talaga, makaganap.
Ang kabutihang dulot sa akin na subli, 1998 ay pa-plate kami ng puntang Washington DC. Ay ako naman ay sa kasalukuyang nakakumpine sa PGH. At ang naging sakit ko noon ay cancer sa lungs. Ay nung pagbukas ng lungs ko at sa pananalig at pananangin ng aking mga kasama, lalo-lalo sa Malapuon, ay nag-negative naman ang aking sakit.
Sa palagay ko, malaki rin ang ginagampanan ng subli sa kalikasan. Katulad na lamang ng mga pangyayaring kung ang bulkan ay pumutok. Nakita daw ng maraming tao na ang mahal na Puong Santa Cruz nasa ibabaw ng bulkan Taal na pinaniniwalaan siya ang nagprotekta sa mga buhay at ari-arian ng mga tao.
Katulad nitong bagong pandemic, nung unang-una pa lang, ay talaga nagpuputok ang Bulkan Taal. Ay tinawag kami ng isang attorney kung pwede daw naming isayaw ang subli sa mas malapit sa Taal. Ay napili namin isa Alitagtag, pero kasagsagan noon ng pandemic. At saka ang bulkan talagang noon ay nagangalit. Sa awa ng Diyos ay yung mga lindol na malimit naming nararanasan, utay-utay na siyang nawala.
Talagang ang subli ng mahal na Puon ay siyang nakagagawa at nakakapagprotekta sa mga tao.
Elaro is a reference to play. And subli contains dance, it contains song, it contains beautiful verse, it contains prayer, no? And it contains devotion. But the second term is very important also because it's called, they use the term panata. You know, we thank the Poon for our health, the fact that we don't get sick, the fact that we are strong, we still have energy. So that I think is very important.
Ang naging sagabalaan sa pagsusubli nito ay dahil itong pandemic. Hindi kami makapagsubli sapagkat walang kumukuha sa amin. Wala nakikiusap dahil nga sa pandemic na bawal na maglalabas at maghalo-halo. Nasunod kami sa protocol at sila man siguro ganyan, kaya hindi nila kami inuusap na magsubli.
the Manunubli of Bawan, were actually descendants and modern versions of the ancient babaylan tradition in the Philippines. When the people start singing the Subli songs, you will immediately notice it. Because what do they call themselves? They call themselves together and they call themselves Kambulong, Kabulaklak, Katampok ng Singsing, Kapipino, Kadamuro. The bulong, for example, is a whisper. It is a spell that brings about healing. Bulaklak are ritual flowers offered to the deity. The katampok ng singsing is a gemstone. Reminds us of these amulets that come together with gem-like magical talismans.
Ang subli ay magpatuloy na mapalaganap hindi lamang dito sa Pilipinas, basta sa buong mundo na. Sapagkat sa aking paniniwala, ang subling yan ay talagang isang mirakulong paraan para sa pagtanggap natin sa ating mahal na po na sinasabi nga sa awa na siya rin ang isang Jesus Nazareno.
The subli is so important because it brings us to an understanding of cosmos, of our cosmic presence. And so I think that is quite important to remember for all of us that still have the joy of watching, of performing, of taking part in this devotion that has existed for centuries, and hope that it survives and that it prevails in the future.
That was the Batangas Manunubli segment featuring Cabeza de Mayuga, Kasibring Cruzat, Kasami Makimot, and other wisdom keepers in Barangay Sinala in Bawan. To reiterate what Mamerto said, the Mumbaki's rituals are divided into those for the well-being of people spanning the human life cycle and those for the well-being of plants spanning the whole agricultural cycle. The health of rice that has fed Ifugao populations for centuries has been crucial to the health of the Ifugao people. According to Mamerto, the waning of the Baki practice due to religious fundamentalism and the influence of mass media has also contributed to the deterioration of native rice production and the health of Ifugaos who have been increasingly consuming pesticide-grown produce. He calls for the revitalization of the Baki on the grounds of health. As a younger generation Mumbaki who earlier in his life also renounced the traditions of his ancestors, while he acquired 2 master's degrees from Ohio University and while he lived in the United States for over 20 years, Mamerto is one example of a Filipino who, despite alienation from his roots, has been able to reclaim his ancestral relations through the sheer force of spiritual calling. While undergoing Baki training under his elders, Mamerto, the modern subject, has been aided in his ritual chant memorization by both anthropological texts and iPhone technology, thus transgressing the modern traditional divide. His lengthening residence in Ifugao has also allowed him to regain his relationship with the land, where he currently promotes traditional farming methods. Whether in the Philippines or in the US, Mamerto attends to his clients, both plants and humans, including those suffering from COVID. To learn more about Mamerto's story, please refer to Babaylan Singback, Philippine Shamans and Voice, Gender and Place.
Rakitan taya puna rakitan ni peninan. Puro anak parang puro anak kau puro anak ulit dia puro an cuma dia puro anak tujuan. Penongot di paramit tanap ya puro anak pelet puro anak puro penongot di bawah kenaken. Melongan itu mekin puro anak kami cumi puro anak budak ayam penongot di bawah di ayat bang. In the woman in Jatin Yamaha, Peter, Mapad Mapia, Poyulina, went in Amod. Jamang Tinlina, Wayalina, when Otimanayu, Talina, Watlina, when Akinan Hepatau, Talina.
So this is how you winnow what you pounded. You winnow it twice. We call this muntop. Where did all this knowledge come from? In he lagitan. Ngayon Ifugao hine. Adhi baptismal. Sidula yahi mamerto tindongan nanom tatuloy tawon o ikinakina banawi Ifugao ya tuwali si subtribe tamo ya mon paot ya mon payo ya mon puai.
Iti ay
I grew up in a small village where everybody practiced baki. I hear them recite like in a conversation, like as if they are conversing with the different deities. And the other one I also heard is semi-chanted. And the third one that I hear is actually chant. And when I became a mumbaki, I learned that when they are just praying, communicating, or calling the different deities, they speak like they are talking to a person. So how does one become a mumbaki? First, you have to have an interest. As a child, if a mumbaki observe a child interested in the baki, whenever there's a ritual, the child is always there listening. That's one sign that that child is interested in the baki. So eventually they will initiate the child to be a mumbaki. They will connect you to their lineage, past mumbakis, and connect you to the different group of deities. If there are somebody outside the Ifugao tribe who is willing to learn, as a mumbaki, I would teach. Baki is such a powerful healing tool. Why do we keep it in this tribe? It should be shared worldwide.
On sungli nganoy mala an ikinakin banawi Ifugao. Ti babae kayat lang agbaki ngem aduti trabaho da kakarupi man di agan anak katawan ti kastana maapan agbaki ti sa bali nga balay ngem maminsan Di asawa na, di lalaki. Kat haangan nag-eskwela. Iso na timang suro. Kinila ka rin na. Basta interesado di lalaki.
Baki is the general term, but there are many kinds of baki. Baki is divided into two. It's for healing humans and for healing plants. The major plant that involves healing is rice. For the rice, in one whole year, there are actually 23 rituals. So each ritual have its own intention.
Haen hi tiabit Juan Candelario nga wa amihi ada feni nan kenaken Banawi. Ha ko an mumpiai hito buat yami.
Tata, amupay, nagigay uping, ang kung maawatan. Tapos damit nga dakis kanuda, ito yung baki. Ada ito kwa, makimismis na nagigay uping, agad-adat niya diya, pero sidita.
The proliferation of fundamental Christians who see the mumbaki as worshipping devil or evil, it doesn't really help. As a mumbaki, the challenges I face is really the lack of interest among the younger generation. They would rather follow the way of life that they see on television. You know, the youth are bombarded by the media with a different way of life.
Look! Bakit wala? Nasira yata. Whoa! Sira. This television actually represents how it changed the mindset of many people. Imagine how many thousands of children watching programs, and they like to be like those characters in the show. So they are not, they don't care about this living culture. Good health as a main reason to bring back the Baki practices and the traditional way of farming instead of using insecticides or that new product now that kills grass. It's actually helping destroy the rice field because they spray that weed killer. It will loosen the stone wall and it will erode. The age of our terrace field is supposed to be more than 2,000 years old. So before colonization, we have maintained the terrace field that fed the people of Ifugao for thousands of years. And with just a short span of time when we were Christianized, the ritual that we talk about diminished. This is what we got. Our source of food deteriorating. What is the solution? It's time to bring back the Baki.
respect human life, but you also respect other form of life. Bring back the respect and honor of the many mumbakis who had been doing their work. If we all work together, we will take care of this earth that we live in.
That was the Ifugao Mumbaki segment featuring Mamerto Lagitan Tindongan, David Juan Candelario, and other wisdom keepers in Banawe, Ifugao. Now let us hear the stories and important messages of a number of wisdom keepers from other parts of the world.
O apu na tanok na marswa. My name is Virgil Mayor Apostol and my roots are from Lawagi, Logos Norte and Kamiling, Tarlac. Currently, I'm residing in Walnut, California, which is in East LA County. As far as formal education, I have a bachelor's degree in business administration, Bachelor of Science in metaphysical studies, and years of experience under the tutelage of various traditional healers and escrimadores of Northern Luzon. Some of the most important ones being my own ancestral lineage, my maternal grandmother and great-grandfather, and my father and his mother. This is where I received the bulk of my healing education and how I inherited the ancestral healing path. But it was also with a conscious choice for me because, unlike other countries such as Indonesia, who have retained their cultural practices, the Philippines has largely lost theirs due to colonization. And so I chose to continue the work of my ancestors to research, preserve, and propagate our traditional knowledge. I practice a Blaan manual medicine, which is known as Hilot in other regions. My immediate strengths are in chronic pain, injuries, and rehabilitation. However, because of the holistic approach to our traditions, I'm also comfortable working with emotional and spiritual aspects. In my work, I use oils and liniments derived from medicinal plants. Depending on the situation, I may recite an ararao, which is an invocation for blessing or to clear the energy. The challenges to my practice lie in that Blaan is based on an indigenous science that is not thoroughly understood by Western society. Therefore, people have trouble grasping the extreme effectiveness when balancing the vital bodies. All of this is also interrelated with the combat arts, being that they are two sides of the same coin. I've written various articles on our traditional healing arts, including books, Way of the Ancient Healer, Sacred Teachings from the Philippine Ancestral Traditions, co-authored Healing Hands of Hilot, and I'm close to submitting a manuscript on the Eskrima styles of the Ilocos and Pangasinan regions. I believe there is a hope for traditional healers to flourish. In fact, that is our mission at Kailokoan Combat and Healing Arts. As long as there are people who are seeking their Filipino heritage, as well as all the ways that our ancestors used to heal, the future is bright for traditional healers because it is a deep remembrance passed on in our DNA. The work of traditional healers is important because we carry the responsibility of teaching individuals how to heal themselves. We encourage an alignment back to nature, and through this, we strengthen our communities across the globe. My message to Filipinos in the homeland, in the diaspora and to humanity as a whole is that we are all a lot more connected than you think. Never underestimate that you have inherited from your ancestors. Everything you seek is just beneath the surface.
Hello everyone, let me introduce myself. My name is Mika. I'm South Korean. I'm 48 years old and I'm a shaman in South Korea. Before becoming shaman, I used to work in modeling industry. However, when I was 25 years old, I got sick. My face and body paralyzed and I couldn't find the reason, even though I went to many hospitals, both Western and traditional ones, as they couldn't find any answers there. My mother took me to see a shaman and she told me that I should become a mudang. At that time, this shaman helped me cure my sickness in only 3 visits to her altar. I was very happy. Later, when I was 31 years old, I got sick again. And I realized it's the time to become a shaman. I couldn't deny the calling anymore, so I trained and became a shaman. People come to me for all kinds of issues, such as sickness, struggles with the money, love, business, decisions about their lives or studies. I use songs which represent stories of the histories of the gods and spirits. Also, when I conduct a ceremony for a customer, I sing their issues and struggles and troubles, and name and birthday also addressed to introduce them to the gods. I learned them from the older generation shamans when I was training with them. There are so many songs, I don't know the number exactly. These are said aloud and accompanied by music, drum, gong, flute, etc. They help the shaman to call and connect with the gods and spirits. They help the shaman enter trance and communicate with the gods and spirits, and allow the gods to talk through me. In the sky, like moon and stars. Also with the wind, I also go to the ocean before sunrise and connect with the power of the sun to get energy and the power for my work and life. It's like a medicine for the shamans, nature safe. And the land is mother of shamans, I think, and the sky is the father of shamans. So it is my duty as their child to take care of them. To me, nature is my parents. They always care about me and take care of me. Recently, the age of shamans is getting younger, and so they are more open-minded and also they want to study more. In reality, the Korean shamans don't receive any support from the government. Songs have been declared as national intangible cultural heritage, but that doesn't mean the shamans receive any support, or that our work is being seen differently. There is a cultural heritage tradition in Korea, but there are no human cultural heritage at this moment, except the shaman King Geum-hwa, who passed away a few years ago. I think that we are the people who can make a good balance and harmony in our society. All of us, we have a very important calling from the nature. So we must put in the time, the nature, to find out what is our exact purpose and how exactly we can assist. If we can do our best, we are going to have an amazing life ourselves.
Hi, my name is Dieter Boy. I am currently 36 years old and I reside in Johannesburg, South Africa. And I am of Xhosa descent, which is part of the Nguni tribe. My ancestors sat me down and they invited me to look into, taking on an ancestral calling. So the ancestral calling is when your ancestors come to you and they say it's time for you to take on our work according to the Xhosa cosmology or the Nguni cosmology. During COVID, when I was practicing, I'd do a lot of online consultations. And if and only when required, I would do physical ceremonies. But most of the times it was just online. So COVID has pretty much given us opportunities to connect with the world. So I've got people that I consult with from all over the world. And they come to me with either a need to connect to their ancestors, or they come to me with a need to either do extraction work or psychopump work, or they've got this illness that they can't seem to find or the cure for. I do divination work for the client to find out exactly what is the root of the problem, and then I would be able to provide medicines or recommendations or listen to what their ancestors are asking of them to do. And that's pretty much the type of people that I've been helping. It's just this broad international audience, depending on where they are and what they need. Unfortunately, colonization has played a massive number on us. So when I walk around with my beads, people's perceptions are that of godliness, or you're a heathen, or they look down upon you. I used to walk around with my buys and my beads, and you just get all these weird looks from black people, especially because of how colonization has washed away, the essence and the beauty of who we are as a people, the ability to connect with spirit and understand spirit. And the strange thing is, back in the days, it used to be celebrated in communities where someone was called upon to be a sangoma, but today it's just looked upon in a very frowned upon in a very strange way. Why is sangoma work so important? I think it's important because, if we look back thousands and thousands of years ago, there was always the roles that each individual was called to play. Some were incredible farmers, some were incredible business people, some were incredible artisans. And there was always a space for sangomas, because sangomas or traditional healers were the ones that would see into the spiritual realms and bring down the messages for the times. Being broad in your perspective and learning different medicines and learning different healing modalities and learning different approaches is so helpful. It's so helpful and powerful, and reconnecting to the oneness of it all, because we all one, and we all share a common ancestor. We all share a common world. I would say definitely go out and experience different ways of being, different ways of healing, different modalities. Travel the world and learn from wisdom keepers from all over the world, so that you can become the wisdom keeper within your community that has a broad perspective and not just a singular, narrow-minded perspective. It's so important to learn from different places and integrate it with the guidance of your ancestors, of course, with the guidance of spirit who will lead you to all the places and the spaces that you need to be. So that's one of the things that I definitely say is that travel the world and experience life, but do ceremonies with different wisdom keepers, with different elders, with different healers. Take that with you and give that back to the community where you reside.
Hello, my name is Estela Roman Porcayo from Mexico. I'm happy to be here today and share a little bit of the wisdom, the knowledge from my ancestors, a little bit of my work. I was born in Temixco. Temixco is the community. The town now today is a city. It's not a big city, but it used to be a village. My grandmother was a curandera, a healer. She took care of people. So today I can say that I honor my grandma and I'm doing what she used to do, which was to fix people. We say a curandera fixes people. We do fix people. We make people feel good. We make people feel healthy, strong, alive. It's about not just healing, taking care of a headache, but also helping people take care of their spirit. What is to be a curandera? Like I said, yes, is to fix people in many ways. We use traditions, practices like prayers. We use sobada, which is rubbing and embracing the body. We use embracing the body, like you wrap up the body and make it sweat. There are several techniques that we use, including purifications. Those purifications are called in Spanish limpias. A limpia is more than cleaning your aura. It's about cleansing from everything that has affected you in your life, that has had a big impact in your life, that has broken with your balance. For us, it's important to pray. It is important to sing. It is important to acknowledge the spirits that somehow are there, are guardians of nature. It is important to acknowledge everything in nature in order for us to get cured. We believe in the spirits, the guardians of nature that somehow came to you and talked to you and told you, it is important that you acknowledge yourself. It is important that you acknowledge me, because we are all connected, and if we don't acknowledge what surrounds us, then we're breaking the balance. We are then going to suffer. We're going to suffer from pain, from problems in your body, in your organs. We're going to suffer from sadness, from depression, from low vital energy. We call it low vital energy when your soul is not in your body. When we acknowledge every being, we acknowledge the spirits of nature, then we acknowledge everything that surrounds nature, including plants, animals, people, trees, rocks, water. Everything has a spirit. So when I pray, for the most part, are words that come to me. I don't know, I get inspired. I feel like maybe an elder came and sang for me, sang through me. Some of the songs it's like the mother singing. The greatest mother, our Mother Earth, is the one that sings, and she sings to the child. The bodies in the chest, in their head, to feel better in their anemical condition, to feel more happy, to feel more in their place. But some of those challenges that we know that there is a purpose for a person to come into this world, and that we hope that that person wakes up completely to that purpose. Other challenges, of course, we face as healers, of course, not only the lack of respect to our medicine, but also the lack of respect to us as people. We're normal people. By one of my elders, she's 85 today, but she's an empowered woman, and she's beautiful, and she is able to remain herself grounded, to maintain healthy body, healthy hair, healthy skin was so important for us. I mean, it's part of being a healer. You need to heal yourself. So I see a lot of healers with less power than I do, for example, because they don't have the power of the spoken word. There are many ways to make music to connect with the sounds of nature, and a whistle into the nature, to nature and to nature of the body is important. So all those elements are there to survive. If we remain loyal to ourselves in our true nature, we will be able to grow and evolve. We will be able to face all the challenges. Physical and spiritual beings, we know that we'll be able to flourish and we'll be able to accomplish our purpose in this life. Thank you very much.
My name's Anastasia Lucy from Machakos County, which is in Kampaland. I became a traditional healer while I was staying with my grandmom at a country. When I was 9 years, I used to follow her when she was doing midwifery in the community. Used to train bit by bit. I didn't know that it's important, but later when I was 12 years old, I was keen and I started following her very well, and I got some good knowledge from her, which has helped me up to date. Later on when I was 13, 14, and 15, I started practicing while I was in high school. I started even doing some therapies to girls. All the conditions of female reproductive system I learned from my grandmother, and in the school I was called a doctor, and it helped me a lot because I continued since that time until my grandmother died when I was 20 years old, 2002. I started practicing herbal medicine and therapies like reflexology. Also learned a bit of Reiki. I have a diploma in reflexology, and I also advanced on Reiki up to being a master in Reiki. I continued practicing until I could now study the palm and I can detect conditions without doing a general checkup, which is done by machines. And I'm happy about that because it's helping the community and world, and I'm proud of my knowledge, which is indigenous, and I like my culture, and I'm so happy with what I'm doing. Helping East Africa, I've been around East Africa and all East Africa communities. So far, I have managed many different cases, like all reproductive cases, and it has helped many women. Also, the therapy has helped many women to conceive infertility, because my mission is to restore sick back to normal. And I'm working hard to continue researching and increasing my knowledge and adding value to the community, to the East Africa community in general and the whole world. Tomorrow, I want the results. Nataka majibu kesho. Healing, Josephine. I do work with plants where I get natural products like powders, which the powders I can make to capsules. And also I do extract oils for my therapies. I do use oils which I've made myself from different plants like sage, rosemary, and calendula. Soil for massaging and also sending chakras. Like this one, I use it for arthritis, which manages arthritis, or muscle conditions, knee conditions, osteoarthritis, inflammation. I'm doing forestry. I'm planting plants in my locality, and I'm also helping the community to preserve trees You don't have the researched remedies, you'll be in many problems. A big challenge is that inadequate efforts to get the medicinal plants acceptance in the community. It's not easy to be accepted in the community. Like, for example, like when you are a traditional healer, you are seen like an outcast in the community. Even I started when I was in the family long time ago. They can't accept you. Like in Kenya, the acceptance is very low compared to modern medicine. And another challenge is that also acceptance from our clients. So far, I am happy because of the referrals. But if the community accepts us and the rules goes down, I can work very well without any problems and challenges. For now, traditional medicine and the traditional healing is almost being accepted in the whole world. Most of our communities are adapting the traditional healing. My message to the whole world, Philippines and other countries, is that we pray that the Philippines will accept the traditional healing practitioners to work hand in hand with the modern medicine to practice their traditional healing services without any fear, and to work hand in hand with the community and modern practitioners in general.
I'm a Jesuit priest. My name is Jojo Fong. I'm a professor of contextual theology, having been educated in a doctorate in contextual theology. My ancestry dates back to Guangdong in China, then migrated to Sabah. I'm initiated by one of the most renowned Murut shamans. His name is Garing bin Muntalan. He's one of the last 3 great, renowned and reputable shamans among the Murut indigenous communities in the heartland of Sabah. That was in 2001, and then 2004 and 2008 I was initiated by Master Lee of the Maosan Taoist school that actually originated somewhere near to Nanjing, also China. And lastly, I was initiated by Father Sintus Ingun from West Papua in the Decaloris school, which is really a hybrid of Trinitarian spirituality and Kejawenan. That means Javanese mysticism. As a Jesuit priest, I find no conflict between my priestly identity and a Jesuit priest at that, with being initiated into indigenous and Taoist and Kejawenan shamanism. For reasons that Ignatius himself, in his mystical experience, experienced God everywhere, in everyone. And for me, that's true. God is alive and active in these reputable and renowned shamans in their shamanic practices as well. And more than that, I draw courage and consolation from the teaching of Vatican II, especially a document on our relationship with the world and primary religions, stating that they often reflect a ray of that truth that enlightens all people. And our Asian bishops, especially in 1995, through the Office of Evangelization, actually encourage us to be evangelized by the indigenous people, because God is already speaking to them through their cultures, through their celebrations, and that we have much to learn from them in terms of ecology, community life, the celebrations of life's joys and sorrows. I normally get invited to houses where somebody passed away due to suicide, for instance, or I get invited to bless, for instance, a garden where there are incidences of disturbances, so that I would go there. I would use a bowl of water, flowers, and then I would just communicate with the nature spirits, the spirit of the tree, the spirit of the land, the spirit of the earth, and then I would sprinkle the place with the water that I bless, and with the flowers from the land given by Mother Earth, in appreciation of the nature spirits, ancestors who are there. And so it's more like a conversation with them.